And we are live. Hello, everyone. Hope you can hear me okay. Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, if the sound is crappy, this is very impromptu here today. But yeah, hopefully we'll enjoy it. I do have a second camera here. This is the box that we've been waiting for, and yeah, amazing to have you received it today. I actually wasn't expecting for a few days, and then this morning I just got a message from the delivery company DHL saying, "Yeah, we're delivering it today." I was like, "Oh my gosh, amazing!" So unfortunately, I was in the studio. I had to rush home, grab the box, and bring it back. A bit of a kerfuffle, but I'll cover that in my review. So yeah, no, how's everyone doing? And I don't know if you saw my pinned comment, but basically it would be good to get your ideas about what to test. I think there's a lot to discuss when it comes to this machine. There's been a lot of noise about it, right? And I want to make sure I cover as much as possible all the use cases out there, what I will use the machine for. I appreciate that it's not, what you might be using it for. So I want to make sure I cover as many use cases as possible. Hey, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. I wasn't expecting so many people to be excited about this machine, but it is a big one, right? So without further ado, I think we should just get straight into it, right? So I opened the outer box, as you can see, this cardboard thing here. So that's gone. And yeah, so, I mean, I have a knife if I need to, but I don't think we need a knife. So I wonder if we can get like an ASMR thing. Does that work? I don't. Yeah. Whenever I try that, it fails. So I'm just gonna do the usual. Get rid of that. I have to say, it's a nice little box. This camera is a bit overexposed. Let me change that a bit. Yeah, that's better. Hey, Richard, thanks for joining me all. I wish I could do the proper accent. I lived here for 20 years. I still can't say stuff in English properly. But no, thanks for joining. And so many people here. Good to see you, Chickster, as well. Yeah, it's an exciting day. I wasn't expecting this at all today. I was expecting a few days, and then I just got this message from DHL saying it's arrived. So it comes in a box, guys. You'll be pleased to know. So yeah, let's open up. Let's make sure I get a good angle here for you. The lighting is just about okay, I guess. Let me see. Right. This is the Starlight version as well, which not many people went for this. I think a lot of people went for the midnight version. I was actually excited about this slightly different color. Wow. I mean, it looks gorgeous in person. I mean, the camera is not doing a lot of justice. Let me change the angle here. It's kind of goldish in person. I'm not sure. Yeah, this is a good angle. I think you're getting it close to what I'm seeing. It feels nice as well, nice and light, which is always, a good thing about the Air. You're not really worried about, it literally is, as it's always been, a very, very good to carry. I've seen people flipping it online and stuff. I'm not going to do that because I haven't had a day with it yet. But let's see what happens. Nice. Honestly, I criticize Apple a lot for a lot of things that they do, but when it comes to the unboxing experience, there's just, not many people can do what they do in this space, I don't think. So yeah, we'll set this aside a little bit, just have a quick look at the other bits and bobs, as they say. Correct if I'm wrong. If I say anything that's not correctly, let me know. But yeah, so lovely braided cable. And as I've seen in other reviews, that is also true here. They come, oh gosh, this is never gonna work. So this way. Yeah, they come in the same color as the machine, which is a nice touch, I suppose. Thing is, I've got hubs, and I use some really decent hubs these days that don't really require me to use the MagSafe so much, but it looks really, really good. Good old MagSafe. I'll return to it. And let's have a look. Right, I'm gonna just give a little pause here and have a look at the comments, make sure that I'm not missing anybody. Could you please remove the comment? It's blocking. Oh yes, sorry about that. So if you didn't see it properly, let's have a look at that again. Yeah, it's a really nice. I mean, it's obviously very, very thin. The MacBook Pro here is in front. This is the M1 Max. MacBook Pro is the chungers. But yeah, no, it's very decent. I mean, let's open it up again. We'll set it up today and make sure that we do some basic testing. Obviously, we haven't got a lot of time here today, but we'll do lots of reviews on this, comparisons. I know a lot of you want to know about this. You know, there's been so much noise about the 256 gig version, which is the one I got, but I did upgrade the 16 gig RAM. A lot of people ask me why did I do that, and I think, you know, initially it was more of a concern that for my workflow, especially, you know, things like editing videos, trying to multitask with things like Photoshop and Lightroom, I'm always going to need a bit more memory, you know, for running things Final Cut Pro. But I fully understand, and I don't expect
English as the main language. Press the return key.
Bugger off. I fully understand that that is not what most people will use it for. So I want to make sure I try it with some normal workflows. But yeah, that's the reason I went for the 16 gig RAM. And I kept it 256 gig in the SSD despite all the noise, because I'm confident that I can keep the SSD clean and use hubs and external SSD enclosures, which these days, I mean, I edit all of my videos recently, of my last 10 videos, which are 4K videos. I've edited them off of SSD enclosures. So I'm really not concerned about all the noise that people are making around it being slow, although it's very naughty of Apple, right? I mean, it's a disgrace what they've done there with it. Cutting corners is not something that you normally associate with Apple, right? This is where focus is going to struggle a bit, I think. Anyway, let me set up quickly here as we're chatting along. So look at the chat. Yes, I've seen those tossing of machines. But yeah, nice pun there. Cool. Yeah. So let me know if you find anything that you want to see it running. As long as it doesn't take like it doesn't take like an hour to install. I might test it today and see how we get on. So multitasking, yeah, that's a good shout. I mean, I do have one of these guys, which I will be. I know, Chixley, you've got one of these, right? Just to test the temperature a little bit to see how.
Mac OS contains a built-in screen reader called VoiceOver.
How do you stop it?
The VoiceOver quick start. Practice what you learn.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. I'm really not concerned about the temperature, to be honest with you. I think it's one of those things that if you are running long periods of high processing, you know, of course it will get very warm. But that's not what the MacBook Air is for, I don't think, anyway. But if you use it differently, let me know. I think it's definitely, you know, something that I want to make sure I cover, because maybe people's way of using the MacBook Air has changed over the years, and because of Apple's, sometimes, you know, you gotta question their marketing, right? Because they do show people using it in some ways that I think, hang on, is that really what we're gonna need MacBook Air for? I'm going to try and share my password. This is when no, it doesn't work like that. I have to actually type it. Just one moment. Yes, my 16-inch MacBook Pro that I had was a nightmare. You know, not only the amount of heat they generated, but actually The noise as well is horrendous. So I'm looking forward to having a quiet machine. This is one of those things. For me, I'll be kind of using it instead of my MacBook Pro in travels, for example. So if I want to go somewhere, usually I would probably take my iPad instead. But the iPad, I don't know, has so many issues recently with it. Even though it's the iPad Pro with 16 gig RAM, there's not a lot that I can do to make it real use. Whereas this is more closer to, I can actually edit a video on this. Probably not with too much going on, but I can totally do it. So just setting it up. I think we're having so many passwords these days, right? It's like, but I wanted to unbox it live, so bear with me on that one. That's the kind of the cons of unboxing it live. So while I do this, yeah, see if you kind of think of something that you want me to try out. Okay. Doesn't like that one. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, the Wi-Fi did work, so I'm through the first bit. I can probably move the camera back in here now. I don't know, it's not really picking up, is it? Let's see if I move it. Oh, that's better. Okay. No, I don't want to transfer anything. Thank you, Apple. That is a nice touch, but not now. I'll set up that later. Skip. Does anyone ever read these agreements? I don't mind that. That's fine. I will have blank password for now. Can I? No? Okay. So look away for a second. That would be a massive fail, right? Sharing my password online. Okay. I think we're back in business here. The screen, I mean, I'm okay, fine. I was going to say it feels a little bit not bright enough, but it was, by default, it wasn't full brightness. But it feels really nice. This, even looking at my M1 Max next to it, it's actually not that much of a difference. Let me know what you think of the notch here. The notch is exactly the same size as the one on the MacBook, on the M1. Yeah, exactly the same size. But yeah, let me know. Do you get annoyed by it, or do you forget about it as soon as you've opened it? Oh God, come on! I'm already on the Wi-Fi. You should know where I am. Fine. I'm nowhere near London, by the way, but that'll do. Cool. Oh boy. I'm not gonna put you through setting up Siri. Touch ID later. Oh gosh. Are you team dark mode or light mode? Yeah, I have to say, because every device that I've got at the moment, right, the iPhone, the MacBook, they all have this notch, and it is annoying. I'm not gonna lie. People say that they don't mind, but I do wish it wasn't there. Whenever I think about it, it's like, but they do, yeah, they do kind of do a good job at hiding it. Yeah, everyone's dark mode here. Oh, hang on, got light mode. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, using dark mode kind of hides it better. Right, we're in. I'm actually in the system now, so that this is exciting. So let me put the camera back on. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I do like the background as well. I will load my own background as well. I've got some new ones that you can get. I'll share the links later. Don't worry about it. But yeah, what's the first thing should we do? I mean, does anyone use Safari? I am the first thing I use Safari for is to download Chrome. Is that bad? What do you do when you get your browser? Sorry, when you get a new machine, what's the first thing that you do? I have to say the trackpad feels really nice. I mean, I do like the bigger trackpad on the MacBook Pro, but this is a nice size as well. And you know, it's not feedback, but the clicking is really pleasing, as it's always been with any MacBooks. Why don't I like Safari? It's a good question. It's probably something that I've got used to doing. Every computer I get, whether it's Windows or Mac, I just go straight into Chrome. But maybe I should give Safari a go, because I know they've gone through a few iterations and they probably deserve another look. So yeah, it's just a habit, I guess. Yes, that is my thought, but I don't know for sure, right? I mean, that's what we're going to find out in the next few days. I'm going to actually use this machine and see if it's true, because I think it's a good balance between performance and mobility. Because the thing is, once you upgraded the SSD to 512 and the memory, I don't know, it starts to become a really expensive machine, right? And you have to be honest with yourself. Do you need the MacBook Air, that much? Because when you're spending close to 2,000, it starts to become a bit of a question on, is that the real, is that the best machine for that money? I think, based on the M1 success, and I think probably Apple is leaning too much on that success as well, right? Because they're pricing it in a way that I do wonder, right? I mean, are we paying here for this machine for what it is really, or are we paying for the newness effect of the M2? I like doing live streams. It's great to interact with the community. I do like to, but one thing I find it really weird, and I'm sure you're picking up on this, is very awkward, because there's no one talking back at me. I mean, so please chat in the comments and keep me company here for a while. I do have my dog here with me today, but he's asleep. I should have thought about this better and actually have a better setup for the screen, but hopefully you can see this all right. There's also some reflections going on here. But there you go. So Chrome is running. One of the things with Chrome that is probably, from a testing perspective, is a good thing, is that I know there's a rule of thumb that if you run about 50 tabs of Chrome, the memory will definitely start to creep up a little bit. Can someone remind me what the command is to get the system performance thing going on? Oh yeah, is this system information? No. Thank you. Thanks, Richard. That's good to know. Activity monitor. Embarrassing, isn't it? I actually used to work in IT, so I should know these things. Right. So how are we doing? So there's not much going on here at the moment, right? There's like one tab in Chrome and whatever. So memory used, you're gonna have to trust my, let me see if I can. That's probably as good as it's gonna get, but it's at the moment just running the system and one tab of Chrome is taking up 6.38. Yeah, obviously not a lot of swap used because there's plenty of memory to go. There's about just under 10 gig left of memory. So I think to really push this machine on the memory side, we're gonna have to actually run quite a few more things here. But I wasn't expecting, for memory to be an issue with this one. What I might do is plug my USB drive. Actually, that's a good idea. So I've got, this is a USB 4 drive, so Thunderbolt speed, so up to 40 gig. There's probably about 1 terabyte of data in here, so obviously I can't copy the entire lot, but I will plug it in and move some files to see how fast it moves. And that might be a good idea. Yeah, exactly. It will take a while for swap to be used, right? And this is when the SSD becomes important, right? Swap is basically using your SSD as memory. So it could become an issue if you fill it up, the 256 gig get filled up, and then you try to multitask. That's when machines will usually struggle, whether it's Apple or whatever. That's how memory is managed across the computers and in general. Right. First things first, right? So has this thing actually picked up my... Oh yeah, so it picked up my thing. I didn't have to reformat it. It was formatted with Apple. Oh, have we lost the camera? Sorry. What happened there? Give me a moment. I think the camera overheated a little bit. So what we'll do, I'll just turn this around. Let me see, maybe it's back. Yeah, it's overheating. So I'll figure out another way of doing this. If it dies again, yeah, it just died again, hasn't it? Yeah. So there is a project here. Let me see if I can do this. Right. Some video projects in this SSD drive. I'm going to transfer, I don't know, maybe 100 gig or something. That's too much. That's 240 gigs. If I do that, it will probably kill the machine. This is what I'm saying, right? For video editing, is really going to be a struggle for people. This is each folder. This is one video, and as you can see, some of the folders are over 200 gig. Okay, this is a small one. This is a 40 gig file. Let me see if I can get a better one. 55. Let's see if there's like 100 gig one. That would be a good benchmark, wouldn't it? Okay, 167. Shall I do that one? Let me know. So I want to move 167 gig to the local drive. And see, there's a question here. Yeah. Let's have a look. So make sure I'm copying it. Just in the documents folder. I mean, that's probably the best place. I don't know. I'm not syncing up to cloud anything yet. So here we go. I'm going to probably put this here and remove my face from the paste item. Okay. Here we go. So it's copying. And I need it to focus. Okay. As I can't see it, can someone tell me how long is it going to take? Is it 2 minutes? About 2 minutes, right? Yeah, let's have a look. Oh, about a minute. Okay, so, I mean, obviously the hard drive that I've got is 40 gig speed, well, potentially, but it's moving pretty fast, right? 167 gig in about 2 minutes. I think that's incredible. question is, once the hard drive starts to fill up and you start to multitask, which I won't be doing today, right? I'll need to install a few apps and try to do it. I want to see what the limit is from a, not doing anything crazy, just doing some sort of, Microsoft Office applications. I think is something that people will use this a lot for. Zoom, Teams, whatever people use on a day-to-day basis. And I'll be leaning on, on you guys to tell me as well, what you want to know, what other apps you want to see me test. Because video editing is what everyone wants to see, but it's like, is that realistic? I know more and more people are becoming content creators, or we all creating content in some way, shape, or form. But are people really editing videos in a professional way using Final Cut Pro and things like that? I would imagine not a lot of people are doing that. So yeah, it's barely done anything to the memory. Of course, it's still at kind of that 6 gig memory used, which does show you, right? If this was an 8 gig machine, I'm not doing anything and it's already 6.5 gig used. That is the main reason why I went for the 16 gig RAM, because it's a no-brainer for me. And I know the M2 is, the architecture itself is meant to be really helpful for, managing memory. But still, I think it's too close to the limit. But yeah, let me know, if you think it's 8 gig is going to be enough for a lot of people, or have I chosen the right one? Because it is only, I say only, right? Over here in the UK, it's 200 quid, but it's $200 more if you're in America for this upgrade. And I think if my rationale was, if I was to choose one upgrade, which one would I go for? And that the memory is always going to be the one that I would choose, because that's what apps care about, really, mostly. Okay, that is a good shout. Thank you, Michael. This is exactly the thing I want to hear from you, right? Because there's a lot of apps, a lot of things that I don't know about, and students are going to be a big target for Apple on this machine. And it's, I can just holding it here right now. I wouldn't be able to be holding this for this long if it was my MacBook Pro, and I can see, right? I'm holding it like a tray. For studying, this is fantastic, right? Because that is exactly what you might want to do, in a cafe or in a lesson or whatever. You don't want to be worried about, carrying something so heavy in your back or whatever. So yeah, that transfer finished ages ago, by the way. Just it's now, hang on. The UI is weird. I don't know, I just spotted this. The UI is showing like a progress bar still on the folder, but the transfer is finished. So it looks like it's a UI issue. Let me, double clicking on it doesn't actually open it either. So have I found a bug straight away? Oh no, hang on, it's still copying. This is okay. So it's actually, even though it said about a minute, it must have been 3 minutes ago, right? It's still copying. So that's not ideal. And I think I know what the problem might be, though. This enclosure needs about 65 watts of input, from a power perspective. So it could be that I need to plug the MagSafe to get power into the SSD. Or it could be we might have an issue here. I don't know. I don't like to assume it's a problem, right? Because I am doing something quite unusual. Typically people would have some sort of power into this enclosure. Xcode. So Vipul, thank you so much for that suggestion, because it's something that I think a lot of people will do. Coding is another target, right, for this machine. I do wonder, let me know either here or ping me a message on Twitter or whatever. Is there any tutorial that I could use? I mean, I'm fairly confident I can learn something quickly, but I don't want to code myself. I just want to download some code. I mean, I've seen people downloading the Firefox build, for example, and just compiling that. is that a good use case that I could do it myself? But yeah, let me know something that I could test quite easily without actually having to code myself, because I'm useless at that. Yeah, the 10 gig GPU, I did think about that, because that's what I did with my MacBook Pro, because I maxed out everything on the MacBook Pro because of that. I want to make sure that when I'm kind of pumping out a video, I'm not waiting and is using everything that is got. For the Air, I'm almost accepting that the machine is not built for that use case, and almost saying, why upgrade it? If I'm not really going to be doing that a lot. I mean, that's my personal reason. I mean, this copying is starting to worry me a little bit. Initially I'm thinking maybe it is the power. This does get warm, which tells me is definitely pulling power from the MacBook. So maybe the right thing to do is to actually plug the MacBook into the power before do the transfer. So I'll do that in the review, don't worry. But even though it's saying less than a minute now, yeah, it went really quickly to start with, right? And then it kind of slowed down considerably. Is now saying, I don't know, quite. Yeah, it's taking quite a bit of time. Yes, thank you, Jess. It's yeah, it's definitely slowing. Okay, Roman, I don't know. Let me just make sure you haven't already answered this. Yeah, that's a good question, but I would say, it depends on what you use it for. 3 years used to be an easy target for any machine, any new machine, right? Okay, it's just finished now, guys. So it's taken, I don't know who's keeping tab here, but yeah, it's taking a lot more than just 2 minutes. Like I said, I will be testing that properly when I do the review. I'm gonna try and turn this camera back on and see if I can get that second angle going again, because yeah, it's a bit better. I forgot about the overheating issue with this particular camera. So yeah, so that was a good question here, Roman, right? I guess I'm pronouncing this right. I would say 3 years is probably going to be okay if you're using the MacBook Air as the MacBook Air is intended to be used, i.e., you're not doing lots of multitasking, you're not doing any 3D modeling, or I mean, I will test those things, don't get me wrong. I will test things like Blender, which I do know how to use a little bit. Video editing, of course. I will use Lightroom. I mean, photo editing is something that a lot of people do these days, and Lightroom is a very popular app. But the problem with Lightroom, I say problem, is a common thing. It does eat up quite a lot of memory, especially when you're editing like raw images. It does take up a lot of memory. But yeah, 3 years. I would like to say, I like to think yes, depending on the usage. But let me know what you're going to use it for. I'm going to plug the laptop into the power so the screen doesn't keep going into. Right. Can you still hear me okay? Because I hit the microphone buttons here. Let me know if I went quiet or whatever. Oh, thank you. So I will check on GitHub then for that. And thanks. Yeah, hit me up on Twitter or whatever. So cool, interesting. So you went for the 512. Oh, okay, okay. Yes, it's a fair point, right? If you're spending that much, and you might be concerned, if I was slightly concerned about performance on the MacBook Air, I would definitely go for the Pro, right? But I'm kind of accepting of the limits. But some people, right, won't have this content creation workflow that I've got that I found a gap for the Air. A lot of people will say, actually, this is my main machine, so spending close to $2,000, you may as well, in some cases, go for that Pro. Makes perfect sense to me. Yeah, it should be, right, for light use for what the MacBook Air is for. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it took a long time, and I am actually concerned now. Is this what people were worried about? Is that what the noise was being generated for? Because it was a simple transfer. Those files are mixed files. There are video files. I mean, let me open the folder for you. Change the camera to that. Let's make sure all the files are here. But I've got a folder with sound effects. Lots of, there's not that many files. And then I have B-roll shots. These are all over in terms of the type of files. Some of them are ProRes footage, which are quite large. So 18 gig for this one. That's probably the A-roll. No, actually it's not. It's just probably 120 frames per second footage. But yeah, so 5-minute video, 18 gig. So some heavy files here, some temporary Final Cut files, and the actual export of the file as well, which is probably just a gig file. So yeah, it's nothing crazy in terms of number of files, because I know some computers struggle with small files if it's like thousands. This was a fairly straightforward, I'd say, file transfer. But yeah, do you know what? It's bugging me a little bit. I'm gonna delete that folder and do it. Yeah, I'm gonna delete it, remove it from the trash bin, and do it again with the power connected now, just to see if it makes a difference. Before I do that, let me just check. See, that's the one that I think Apple's pushing a little bit, because when you go to that one, yeah, you're getting too close to the MacBook Pro, to the M1 MacBook Pro price. Yeah, it's a lot of money for 24 gig, and of course, more memory is always going to be good. And it really depends what you're using it. Yeah, exactly, Richard. That's exactly what I'm saying. Sanjana is saying, I saw a lot of reviews, but I took advice from Alex and I ordered some specs. Oh, you're most welcome. I would say, and I do the same, right? Take anything that you see on YouTube, including for myself, with a pinch of salt, because your use case is going to be very personal to you, right? The way you use a machine might be something that not even Apple thought about. So yeah, use the data that you get out there, use tests like this as a reference, but at the end of the day, make sure you choose what's best for you. But I appreciate the nice words there. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So you're editing GoPro videos. Yeah. It doesn't sound too complex to me. I think GoPro you can actually get 5K footage now, maybe 6K even. I'm not sure. So it's heavier files, right? For sure. But I think you'll be fine. Yeah, it's that's the sort of thing that there's a limit. Or when people say video editing, there's obviously layers and layers of video editing that you could do, sound effects and video effects and 3D even that can add in and make the machine struggle. But on the Air, you're probably not going to be doing that. Okay, so let me change the angle again. Go to my folder. So this is the local folder that we had earlier. Sure, can you focus properly? Right, I'm gonna send that to bin. Remove from the bin as well, empty it. So the Sabrent, see how hot the MacBook got as well, actually. It's a good point, right? One of the other concerns that people had was temperature. Using a mini stand here for the moment, so you can see. So this is the area that, okay, so at the moment is 30 degrees or 86 Fahrenheit in the hottest point, I think from 86. So, oh gosh, not now. Just want to feel it. No, it can barely. I mean, it's not hot at all. But of course, we haven't been doing much to make it go hot. But let's make that transfer again. The actual hard drive is boiling. So it's 105. So it's definitely doing stuff. Hey Tuko, how you doing? If you just joined, I'm just doing some basic tests, and I've just unboxed the MacBook Air. Very impromptu video here, just to give you an idea of what it's like. Doing some basic file transfers at the moment, just to see if we break it. The first attempt at doing this, if you just joined, it was a bit of a fail. It said 2 minutes to transfer 167 gig folder, and then I was thinking he's finished, and then I saw that he took quite a long time, nearly 10 minutes almost. That's I'm gonna do that again. This time connected to the power, because that was the difference in the first run we didn't do. So now we've got power connected, which means this should be getting enough power. Shall I choose the same folder? Let me see if there's a different one, just to make sure there's nothing cached or anything. That's only 30 gig. That's 220 gig. That would be very brave to do, but let me see how much space we've got actually free, because I know it's a 256 gig SSD. Yeah, so that would struggle, right? Because even without nothing in it, there's 30 gig that Mac OS uses. So you really usable out of the box, you get 215 gig after installing Chrome as well. But yeah, so when you buy 256, you actually usable storage is about 215. Okay, I got a question here about the color. So no, it was purely because I thought it would look nice. After I ordered it, I realized that a lot of people were saying that it's not black, right? What's it called? The midnight, whatever it's called, is very fingerprinty. But no, I probably would have gone for that if I thought really fast. But I had a really bad experience in ordering the M1 Max, and it took almost 3, maybe 4 months for me to get it because I delayed ordering. So it was an impulse choice. I just chose a Starlight because I thought it looked nice. And I have to say, it looks really, really nice. I mean, yeah. I don't know if you had an iPhone 7S when they came up with I think it was the first time they came up with a gold color. It's like that color. It's bright. It's a little bit lighter than the iPhone 12 in gold. That was a little bit darker, I thought, than this. So it's a nice sort of faded golden color. All right, so it's gonna have to be the same folder, because if I move 220 gig, it's gonna die. Let's see how big this one is. And that's the one I can't do. Making sure that you got the focus here. Okay, it was this one. So I'm gonna copy that guy. This folder, just double checking, is 167 gig. And we're gonna put that in the documents folder. And hopefully, so it says again, it's gonna take about 2 minutes. Hard drive is filling up. The activity monitor. I don't know how to read this here, but I thought Finder would be here somewhere. Oh, here you go. It starts off really fast, and Yeah, so it's doing its job. Unfortunately, the Finder transfer doesn't really tell you how fast it's going. It feels like it's close to a gig per second. Yeah, it's so 65, 67, 68. At the moment, it's doing about a gig a second, which is what I'd expect using this Acasis enclosure. It's got a Sabrent. Oh, let me pick it up for you. Inside the enclosure, I've got one of these. Maybe I have to do this. Yeah, it's got one of these inside, a 2 terabyte one. Oh, here we go. It's slowed down again. Go back to that. So it's no longer doing a gig a second now. It's really struggling again. Right. So we definitely have an issue here, I think, because I thought initially, I thought it was the power, right? The first time we did this transfer, I thought the power had a problem, but clearly it goes a gig per second for a long time. It did almost 100 gig at that speed. And now it's, I want to say it's doing maybe 300 meg. Obviously, for my review, I'll make sure I measure this properly. I use an app that actually shows the speed. Yeah, it's not looking good because it's definitely plugged in. As you can see, still, you know, I'm getting power and it's showing that it's actually getting, that's not going to show, but it's showing it as orange, which means there's definitely power being drawn from the source. The battery at the moment is 83% and it's charging. Let me remove the message. Let's see if there's any more questions here. Thank you, Mark. I'd love to know what that is, to be honest with you. But sounds like there's some sort of hard drive. Is it kind of a storage cache? Is it? Yeah. It's. Let me know. What I don't know is this to be expected, or is this because I'm using this sort of storage? You know, because yeah, it is definitely slowed down considerably now. It's crawling again. It's going to probably take another 10 minutes like it did before. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, you know, because oh yeah, of course it's the SL whatever cache. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know what that is. I'm crap at my job, innit? The cache is what makes SSDs fast. Some have DDR3 RAM, others okay. A lot of numbers, a lot of letters. I'm gonna have to do some research on this one, to be honest. What Michael said, yeah. Thank you. Cool. So I think from a kind of unboxing and first impressions point of view, I'm really pleased with the form factor. I have to say it's exactly what I expected to have. I mean, I had the original 2010, I want to say, maybe 2011 MacBook Air, you know, with the you know, the envelope one with the wedge. But this, I don't know. It feels really nice to use. I'm not happy about this performance on the storage, of course, but it could be just I'm doing something stupid, moving that much from an external storage. But it's definitely, and I'm really pleased with the color. Yeah, but that's not really what people care to. I mean, color is important, right? But does it do what we want it to do? And I think when I start downloading applications and doing some workflows that are being suggested here, you know, I love your ideas here, by the way, of using, you know, for coding and some student workflows. So I'm definitely going to do that. And yeah, looking forward to sharing that with you here. Yeah, so Tisha, I don't know if you were here earlier, but there was a couple of questions on yeah, applications for students. So I'm definitely going to be be testing that out. In terms of which one is better, the Air or the 13-inch, I guess you mean the MacBook Pro 13-inch, is that right? I would say the Air, but it depends what else you do, right? If it's just studenty things, I would imagine this would be perfect. I'm not sure about 8 gig RAM. Might be okay for a lot of people, but from a if you want to future-proof it slightly, then I think the 16 gig might be the right way to go. I will be putting this to some proper testing and kind of give my proper feedback in a few days. Probably do a video about it tomorrow, just because I want to spend some time this evening just testing this file transfer again, do some research on that cache as well, because obviously that's important. Because people might, if people like me, idiots, might look at this and go, "Oh my gosh, of course there's an issue with the SSD, isn't it?" But I want to make sure I research properly and revert back to you with a definitive answer on what it is. Because sometimes these things are renowned for having problems as well. I mean, it's getting really, really hot, this thing. Let me see how hot it got now after. Yeah, I want to say it's the same temperature. Let's go slightly hotter actually. So it's now 91 degrees, 91.4. So only a little bit hotter, just on the file transfer. But from a touch perspective, yeah, it's definitely, you notice it a little bit warmer. And the keys on the keyboard, they actually don't. I mean, the heat transfer is actually very good. I mean, the keys are fine. There's only the metal bit at the top that if you rest your fingers there, it's very noticeable. But again, just a file transfer, we're not expecting it to be boiling hot. The file transfer is still going, by the way, and it's a tiny bit left. He's done 160. At least he's not crapping out, right? Sometimes, when you're moving a large amount of files, like 165 gig, it's very unusual that you're going to do that. This is extreme, but it is common to have experience like dropouts and you lose the storage. In this case, it's actually, I don't know if you heard that, but it's just finished. It's doing it. It's just, it slows down very, weirdly because of that cache, I guess. But it finished the transfer without any issues. Right. Patrick Rambles is here. Look at this, guys. Yeah. I want to say something, but I don't know. I don't want to be cancelled on live here on my stream. But that's what she said, isn't it? You go for 16 gig. I would. I don't know if you picked up earlier. I was saying 16 gig is definitely what I would go for. I wouldn't choose one or the other and choose storage, because there are solutions, right? Like the stuff that I've been using. There are solutions for fast access to storage. As I say that immediately after the transfer almost failed. But yeah, no, I think the storage would be a secondary priority for me. I would always choose memory over it. Thank you. I mean, yeah, so it's consistent, right? It took about 8 minutes last time as well. But I do want to research that SLC cache thing, because it's just not something that that I understand enough to comment on. Yeah, see, I don't know. Black machines, they look nice, right? And we've had older MacBook Pros in black that were nice, but I don't know. I just liked this shade of gold. Called Starlight, but it's very, very tamed gold. But yeah, I prefer this one, but color is one of those things, right? It's not something you recommend. It's whatever you prefer. Fingerprint wise, I mean, I've been on this stream now for about an hour, right? So my hands are naturally going to generate some disgusting stuff, oil. But yeah, it's not doing anything in terms of fingerprint. It's really nice. Obviously, I touched the screen, and the screen has obviously now got it. But no, it's no fingerprint issues on this one. Yeah, I would say Yeah, I would say that that's exactly the point about all of this noise about, you know, slowness and getting hot and stuff. Realistically, that is an extreme use case, and no one is going to be transferring 160 gig every day, right? It's a very extreme case. It is not, you know, my hard drive is now completely full. I've got to get rid of that. But no, I'm with you there, Von. It's not something that people use. Yes. Guys, I think we're gonna end here. I think there's, as a first impressions, I'm really happy with my choice. I will be doing a review, and thank you so much for joining me here today. Have a lovely weekend, and yeah, see you soon. Cheerio.